So for my target audience for my pop music magazine, I decided to send out a survey. I then came back with 43 responses. I started by asking the question of what type of music people enjoy listening to, just for my benefit. It came back with pop with 48.84% of people, which gave me the idea that a lot of the people enjoy listening to pop music and will hopefully then enjoy pop music magazine. Now, the next question I asked was, do you enjoy reading pop music magazines? Now, although a lot of people answered no, I realised that this was because of their age and for the fact that they were a lot more mature than the people who would actually enjoy reading pop music magazines, and for the target audience that pop music magazines are usually aimed at. So for my next question, I asked, what age group do you think would want to read pop music magazines? Now, luckily, a lot of people came back with from ages 0 to 13 with 23.26%, and the ages 14 to 17 with 60.47%. Now, this immediately allowed me to know that the age group that I was going to base my magazine at was going to be a young age group. This allowed me to know what type of magazine I would be creating and how I would create it for that specific age group. I also wanted to know what type of magazine colours people would expect on a magazine, and people came back with bright colours, pinks, purples, things that looked amazing on the page and were eye-catching, which allowed me to know what sort of things people wanted to have on a pop music magazine, and that because pop is often linked with fun and enjoyment, it meant that the colours had to link with that certain effect and emotion. I also wanted to know how much people would want to pay for a magazine, and the majority of them chose the price £1 to £2 with a 58.14%. Now, this showed me that people often want to pay a less amount of money for a music magazine and for what people expect, and this showed me that usually when people are paying for a magazine, it is often less than £5. I also wanted to know what people would expect to find in a music magazine, and a lot of people came back with latest gossip, so I knew that I'd have to include funny celebrity stories or gossip that would interest that specific target audience. They also came back with games and quick reads, so I knew that it had to be simple language. Also, now I knew the sort of target audience and age group I was looking at. I knew that the magazine for the magazine I'd need simple writing and things that young people would be able to understand, as it's not supposed to be a mature magazine and it's not mature subjects that I want to talk about. Now, from the question of what age group are you in, I found out that a lot of them were 18 to 25 or 14, no. Yeah, so from reading the type of age groups that were answering the survey, I found that the majority of them were either 14 to 17 or 18 to 25. Now, from the results that I got before, I expected that a lot of people were either 16, 17 or in that sort of age group, as they based people who would want to read pop music magazines as much younger, and a lot of them wouldn't, and the people who answered the survey would not want to read pop music magazine. I also wanted to know how pop music makes you feel, and a lot of people came back with happy, enjoyment, and this showed me that the magazine had to mirror that feeling and emotion that people get when listening to pop music magazines, due to the fact that the magazine is based around that genre. So I then asked the question of, are you male or female? Now, although the majority of the audience were female, there were a various amount that were male. Now, when doing my own research in pop music magazines, I found that a lot of the time the magazines were suited for females, that a lot of the gossip was what sort of guy are you into, and sort of what's the latest fashion, what's the new smoothie trends. Now, as my magazine was in that genre of pop music magazines, I knew that my magazine had to sort of mirror the magazines that had already been published and are already out. Therefore, I knew that I wanted my target audience to be from ages under 14 and to be based at females. This also helped me to know, as this also linked to the fact that people wanted the magazine to have pinks and purples, as these colours are often linked with femininity and females.